Since beginning of this year, we see lots of people looking for properties. So what has been happening? Today we invite Richard to talk about this. Welcome to Someplace channel, and today we have Richard here to tell something about the market update. Hey Richard, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good, yeah. I see a lot of people since beginning of this year, they say it's very hard to find the properties. And last month, I see one news, it says one open inspection. They see 200 groups of people coming to the inspection, and the queue was 100 meters long.
Yeah.
And that was like during 36 degrees. And last night, my friend's friend called me and said, Junyi, how can I buy the property? She was very emotional. I thought maybe today we should make a video to talk about, during the COVID-19 now, why the market is so hot. Richard, can you share something from your experience?
So, from the beginning of last year, the property market has been very interesting. Between March 1st, COVID-19 broke and June, so the market was pretty quiet. But after 4th of June, after the government rolled out the home builder grant, the market has become very hot. Some of the partners we are working with, they had their best year over the last 10 years, just for half year of last year. And we can say from crisis before, and this is happened every time after we have a crisis. This is not the first time we have a crisis. We have the global financial crisis in 2008, and after 2008, when the government rolled out the first homeowner grant, the market picked up really quickly and bounced back very strong. So we are saying now the government is putting in 3 times money into the economy than the GFC. That's why we have seen a very strong market. And the Queensland market is very lucky, I should say, in COVID-19. We have been controlling the virus really well, and a lot of people has been driving towards lifestyle. And last year actually is the first year in Australia, first time in the Australian history, the regional property market outgrowing the capital cities. So,
That's interesting.
Yeah. For example, like Gold Coast market is really hot right now. A lot of people coming from interstates. A lot of people came back from overseas. Australian citizens, they were working in Dubai, in New York, in London. They come back from overseas, and they are coming to the lifestyle place. Even they say COVID-19 is pretty stable right now, but a lot of companies still encourage people only come back to office 2 or 3 days a week. So another 2 or 3 days, they can still work from home. And this is a lifestyle change. I think this is going to last very long, even after COVID-19.
Okay, can you share something? Because in the history, we had SARS, and like in 1980s, we got a stock crisis. So from all these history events, how does property market behaved like during that tough period? Can you share something so people can tell? We can't exactly predict the future, but if we look at the history events and find out what happened during these events, it's very good indication for what market probably is going to behave over the next few months or next few years. Would you like to share something like what you know from the history?
Yeah. So last year, technically speaking, we have went into a recession. Australia has went into a recession because we have 2 quarters in a row have negative GDP growth. But this is the first time over 30 years time. Australia is the only developed countries has an economic growth over 30 years of time.
Yeah, last time was in 1991.
Yeah.
So roughly,
So the last time we have to trace back to 1991. But in that recession, actually the property price has increased a lot after 1991. So especially in Queensland, if you trace back the record after 1991, between 1991 and 1994, Queensland property market has grown more than 40%. And in 2003, when SARS happened in Asia, we saw the same thing. Like after the Olympic Games, Sydney property price increased a lot between 2000 and 2004. Even after the 2003, the property price has been performing really strong, even in those two crises. So, like we said, even at the beginning of the last year, at the beginning of the COVID-19, we have a lot of webinars saying Australian property market is going to hold itself really strong. We even have the record of those webinars when the bank rolled out the prediction saying the Australian property market is going to be decreased by 20%, 30%. We are saying no, that's not going to happen. We had this similar crisis before, and this is what happened. And the record is already showing we were right in last year.
Okay, yeah, some people like even say because now economy is not good and the property value is going up, will this be overvalued? Like when we look at the share stocks, now the share value is even higher before COVID-19. So we definitely has some bubble there, people believe. But why this still growing? And from my opinion, it's like because we know lots of governments, they are printing money, right? Like US, Australia. All this money, when they print out, it can cause inflation. And we know interest rate is historically low. So people, if they leave money in the bank, basically their money is basically depreciate, right? And we see investors, they always put money on something. So economy is not good. It's very hard for them to put money on business because it's more risky. But they believe, properties or even shares can bring some more stable income in long term. That's why they put money in. And that's why we think that even economy is not that good. And history also shows this. No matter how bad economy is, but it doesn't stop, property value going up. And that's what we can see in 1987 during the stock crisis. We know, share value dropped 30% on a single day. But property value, like what Richard mentioned, is actually doubled over the few years' time because people think if we do shares, if we do business, it's risky. So everyone put money into, property market, and that's why it makes the demand so strong. It's like what we are having now, but supply is so limited because bank doesn't lend money to developer, and developer couldn't make new stocks. Demand is increasing, supply is limited, and it causes a price difference. So that's why we believe over the next few years, it should have very good market outlook.
Yes, I agree. Like Junyi said, all the governments across the world, they are doing quantity easing. At the beginning of COVID-19, the USA already announced they are going to do unlimited quantity easing. It means as long as they need, they'll produce unlimited money into the economy. So they'll print. They're definitely going to cause inflation. And money has to go somewhere. In America, we've seen the stock market has been historically high. In Australia, the stock market has grown a little bit as well, but the property market has been extremely strong. Because we have different situation in the States. Like in the USA, stock market is much bigger industry than the property market. But in Australia, actually, the property industry is 3 times more than the shares market. We have $5.4 trillion worth of industry in Australian just residential property. And I think in the next at least 3 years, it's still a very uncertainty period of time. Then people with money, they are looking for secure investment, safety investment. I can say, especially in Queensland, our COVID-19 has been controlled really well. Like I said, the property is definitely a very safe category of the investment.
Yeah, I think like every time after financial crisis, and government always encourage new migrants to come to Australia, so they can bring money here, they can create jobs for the economy, and there's no doubt this will happen as well as long as COVID-19 is controlled. And we got vaccine now. We don't know exactly when this is going to happen, well controlled, but it shouldn't take too long, probably 6 months, probably 1 year. But once this is well controlled, we know lots of people will migrate to Australia. And this is what happened during SARS in 2003, 2004. And after that, property market, like property value in Brisbane increased 40% for that 1 year because lots of migrants came to Australia. And we know like last year, lots of people from US, from UK, they came to Australia. When they first came here, they probably didn't buy property because lots of rumor, like lots of news. They assume market is not good. People are a bit scared. People probably just renting at the time. And we know this normally is 6 months or 1 year. And from March last year to March this year, it's almost exactly 1 year. That's why everyone now come to the market. Everyone want to buy property, and we can see this has been happening, and we know this will continue for some time.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, Junyi, last year we have seen a lot of expats came back to Australia. Actually, there are close to 1 million people came back to Australia. And Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Queensland, those good lifestyle area has been very popular. It's one of the best destinations for the expat who came back to Australia. And we already seen this happening. Fanny, you mentioned about immigration. Some people is thinking after this crisis, we may tighten the immigration policy. I'm not sure. I'm not an immigration expert, but from my friend circle, I already say some of my friends, they're holding a big investment, a business visa. Their business visa process has been fast forward during COVID-19.
Yeah. My friends got visa as well now. Yeah, finally.
Yeah. So the business visa holders, once they landed in Australia, they need to operate a business that'll be providing more jobs to the economy, which is really good for our economy.
Yeah, they got $500,000. They need to buy properties, and then the rest of the money they can invest on business, so that can increase the demand as well. And that's what Richard mentioned in Gold Coast. Yeah, I have a property in Gold Coast, and I have many real estate agents, ask me, say, Junyi, whether you want to rent your property out. The demand is so strong. Yeah, they haven't seen this, for many years, and this is not very common to see. At least it hasn't happened over the last 10 years. We have been in this industry.
Meanwhile, supply is down a lot. I spoke to a friend of mine. He's been in real estate. He has been a real estate agent for over 10 years. And this year, January, the record shows the stock level compared to last year has decreased by 18% already. So it's a lot of demand, more demand than before, but actually less supply, which caused, we've seen, like Junyi said, a grand property has 200 people lining up for inspection. A friend of mine, he just had an auction in Mitchelton. He had 119 groups inspect the property. On the auction, it went 5 to 10% more than the reserve price. So it's been really hot. It's really strong.
Yeah, and not just about the existing properties, even the land. I think it's sold very fast.
Definitely.
Yeah,
it's really hard to get the good land projects right now.
Okay. Anyway, thanks for sharing today, Richard.
Thanks for inviting me to.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, if you think this is valuable for you, please welcome to register our channel. See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.